just win this outright because Lucky, well, not so much, I guess, is not going to be able to play this one. Having internet problems, I don't know what the scenario is if his internet comes back online during the match. I don't know if he's allowed to come back. I kind of hope he is, but yeah, instead we got Biggie. Of course, the coach for Heretics has been a professional player in the past, but yeah, well, we won't delve too deep into that one. If you want to go to Liquipedia and have a look at the reasons why that didn't go down so well, some of you probably already know. But yeah, we're gonna go into our pistol rounds. It's gonna be the CT side start for Heretics at least, and at least it is someone who will know a lot of their executes, a lot of their strategies already. It's just gonna put a lot more pressure on some of the other players. Good start already in the pistol round, but they do get dinked up, and Navera is going to be forced back down the ramp already with 7 HP. The T's are going to put the pressure on.
A couple taps come through, but nothing really landing for the CT side as they just make big, wide swings, forcing these open duels for the USPs. It's just not working out too well. As next in the coffins, albeit Kiyoshima, leaving just XMS. And now Biggie to do all the work, who does find the tap on Dennis, so puts himself on a 1-on-2. An opportunity to put himself back in the spotlight here as he can try and find a clutch. Swings open the door, knows where the bomb's now planted, so at least there's that nugget of information, but unfortunately, oblivious to the fact that DJ is right above him. Will be a quick and easy round for Sprout in the end, as they start off strong with a pistol in the back.
Well, they did manage to dominate when it came to that ramp position, and now they're going to be able to invest into this one. The CT side could go for the force buy just to make sure that they are able to get the AWP. But by the looks of it, they just want to get that early buy. Get back onto the board as soon as possible. Don't allow Sprout any more free rounds. There's going to be a very fast play towards that vent from Dia. It means that if they do decide to split down the ramp, he's going to have the flank controlled. And Dennis, actually wrapping all the way around the outside, is going to find a lot of information about where the CTs are not. And Dia, well, ambitious. We know that shooting on ladders doesn't really work. Definitely doesn't work with a Galil.
He's kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place here because he wants to come up, but he just can't because they're all ready and waiting. So Dennis has to come in, clear the way. B with the rifle might be given an opportunity, but the answer is no. Dia takes him down, leaving just Navera, who once more takes the wide swing. But that was just pistols in play for the CT side. They made that very costly with very little spend.
Well, now the buy comes back up. Maka can actually afford a glass cannon AWP, so it isn't the worst scenario in the world, but they do have some pieces missing from their utility. Also, head armor missing, which won't play too much of a part, but the Galil might be able to get a cheeky one tap instead. Sprout now with a big opportunity in this match. We're going to see them lining up the smokes to take control of that outer portion of the map. Potentially just maybe going to hit into the upper spot. There aren't going to be any incendiaries to hold them back. And only a singular kit onto the coach, so chances are it's going to be a tough hold for the remaining CT players. Molotovs being lined up to bounce back through the windows. It will clear a lot of the positions and utilize a lot of those smokes already looking for the opener. Kio's going to go down. XMS trying to hold on the site, but Farvan's found both entry kills, and every single player from Heretics has just fallen. Left Navera 1 versus 5. This is a save if ever I've seen one. And that is one hell of a start to this by Sprout.
It's very clean as well. Every single duel they took was this really sort of clinical fight where it was always, we know exactly where you're going to be standing, we're going to get the easy headshot and leave you with no opportunity to fight us back. That's the sort of decisive Counter-Strike Sprout want to be starting with here, just to make sure they close out this series. Because, I mean, let's be totally honest for a second. Sprout are probably feeling really good right now. Who wouldn't be? Your opponent has just been forced to use a substitute player who naturally, at no fault of his own, is going to be a weaker player individually than their main talent, Lucky. For a number of reasons, whether that's raw aim or through just actually playing the game with his team and knowing how they play. So, Sprout going to be in a very confident position. And not only can you see that in their play, mentally that's going to be something they're going to be thinking about as they go through this first half. They just want to rack up as many rounds as physically possible before Lucky returns. It's a blunt way to put it, but I think it's fair enough.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think they're going to be losing any sleep over winning this match. They might feel a little bit bad for their opponent, but a win's a win. And they started off strong. They started off on the T side as well, which, if anything, makes things a little bit worse. Like, at least on the opposing side, you could send him in as a little bit of cannon fodder, finding out information as to where some of the remaining players are. Even just group up and play as a unit with Biggie able to help with the calling a little bit. But instead, starting on the CT side, leaves them a little bit isolated. Now they're going to get aggressive into the lobby. The Ts are actually still holding outside. Spiddy just waiting to see if there is any sort of aggression. He's going to spot XMS. A little bit wary for somebody coming up on the roof, but this ultimately doesn't have much of an effect on the play. It is going to be the push coming, wrapping around in from heaven. Dennis looking to just clear all of these remaining positions. They know that the hut's been taken. Spiddy's been feeding them information all the way through. And now the A site's going to be firmly under their control. Just one man that they have to deal with. And eventually, that's exactly what they do.
Maka should be able to get himself that rifle, so at least there's that for him. If Keo can then find something as well, he's going to be in a great spot. And he's just actually got one for his teammate now, so Keo just needs to retreat, group up together, maybe try and grab that. Fortunately, he is on the wrong side of the map, so not ideal. That said, 4 rounds on the board for Sprout. They are looking good on their T side so far.
Looking to try and hunt down some of those remaining guns. Not really wanting to allow the CTs to get away with that much in what was mainly just a pistol round. Of course, this is going to be the first proper 4x. Mackin can get his AWP with Kevlar and have full grenades. So this is where Heretics basically have to start rising to the occasion. Of course, it's always horrible when a player's missing, but the fact is they are 2-0 in Swiss. So even if they do lose this match, they're going to have a couple of opportunities. Hopefully, Lucky can sort out his connection or maybe even just get another line. And of course, it's a bit of a weird scenario at the moment with everything going on. Fast playing, though. I like this. A change of pace from the Ts. They're going to get a man down the vent. That will allow them very good positioning if they were going to wrap back around towards the B site. Dennis, of course, doesn't have the bomb, so can't really do anything there. It'd be a bit of a risk if he did. But he can look to wrap around onto the ramp or even just try and pull away some of the rotations. You can see Deer in the meantime. He's going to try and take control of outside. Lots of opportunities for the wraparound, and that's the most important kill. That's the opener onto the ramp. That means the T side now have a clear path to the B site with Deer already holding around the outside. Dennis has done his job perfectly, but with that one man being dropped, there might be an opportunity. Dennis, low on HP already, and a nice shot from Maka, so clinical with that AWP. It gives them a good chance now to take this back.
Bavano could be a game changer here because all these players quickly rushing vent. If he can get in behind them at the right moment, he could single-handedly cut this retake down before it even gets going. Oscar doing his bit fighting Biggie. Fabian is the man of the hour. He needs to get those legs moving. If he can get into that player, at least get this singular frag here, that already takes the pressure off his team, let alone the other 2 players still standing. I think he might have already done what he needs to do, to be honest. He's forced him immediately into a save.
At the time, too far gone. And ultimately, it does look like Dennis's singular frag to give them that way onto the ramp actually did enough. Even going to be killing off one of the remaining players in the form of Maka. And they know where XMS is. I doubt they'll be able to kill him off before anything else happens, but I don't think Sprout will mind. 5-0. A strong start to the T side. Biggie at least able to get onto the board, which, hey, it's always nice to get the call up. Unfortunately, the circumstances don't quite come in the manner they would have liked. And they are actually going to force the issue here. Double AWP setup invested. This was very impactful when it came to the previous map, but not something that's so common when it comes to Nuke. Like, there are definitely angles that can be taken, but you have to remember there are opportunities for the T side to either completely negate them with the smokes that they've thrown here, or even just blasting onto the A site. So that risk may have just bitten them in the butt. As this one player down on the B site, Biggie, well, that is not the way you want to kick off this round, as now the B site is going to fall into the control of the T side if they desire it. They're taking their time. Dennis has also picked off the AWP. And well, I think you've just witnessed the reason why we don't really see 2 AWPs brought in on the CT side. It leaves you almost immovable in a lot of positions. And with Nuke being a map that's quite dynamic in rotations and you have to be quick to react, it's not really a gun that you can have too many of.
Yeah, you don't double up nuke CT side really at all. The only if you want to go for maybe outside and ramp, and that's a very niche circumstance, but I think it's a given just to say that a double, especially in this composition, probably off the table. I think for Heretics right now, the game plan should be, let's get aggressive, let's do something different, let's see what we can find, because right now, the answer is absolutely nothing. Maze Keo gets a quick exit kill, maybe finds a second for his troubles as Dennis hits the deck, but the storyline still is that Sprout is 6-0 here, and while this is Chapter 1, Chapter 2, I don't know if it gets any better, Tom.
Well, I think that we do have to take everything that we're witnessing with a pinch of salt. I do wonder if that might have just been an attempt to be a little bit more aggressive with some of the plays, like that go for the picks because you don't really have the overall firepower to challenge anymore. You'd have a big player missing from your squad, so okay, let's just throw in 2 AWPs just as a attempted counter. Unfortunately, the decisions that are currently being made by Sprout are completely counteracting that. They're going for fast play. Dennis is just ripping off faces. Dia has come alongside him as well. Maka's way too late to the party. He's now actually surrounded. I think there's a player behind him as well, so he just had to try and go for the kill. And this has just turned into the Sprout show. Navira, 1v4. Dennis is having an absolute field day. He is eventually going to be put down, but even then there was a trade available. 7-0. Sprout absolutely dominating this T side, and I can't really say I'm overly surprised considering the circumstances.
Yeah, it's definitely far from ideal, and it's when you look at the way they're playing as well, unfortunate. I have to agree, obviously, Heretics, you have to kind of discount a lot of it, but also look at the way Sprout are playing. Literally, the A push there from outside through to inner A, there wasn't much to it. It was just pure confidence. Walk in, shoot heads, get 3 kills. Standing proud in hub. I mean, that's the sort of play we're seeing right now. It's just exuding a quick Sprout victory. I'm not surprised to see 7-0. I'm expecting this to get much worse now because there's nothing Heretics seem to be able to do to slow this down. These rounds have been very, very quick. And already the B site given, the only piece that saves Sprout is that, or saves Heretics, sorry, is that ramp control still has yet to be given up. But if Secret is taken, that provides a pathway onto that site, which I don't know if Heretics will be able to retake.
Well, from what we've seen so far, the answer to that question has been no. And obviously the synergy of this team is going to be thrown off right now. The other thing as well is I do feel like for some of the rounds, we've actually just seen Dennis directly try and exploit Biggie, knowing his position, like watching him play around Mini for some of the rounds. He's just aggressively pushed it to try and kill it quickly as possible. And it's smart play. You know, focus on the weak link, find it, and then make things very, very awkward for the remaining players. I think this also has got to be quite demoralizing, so maybe just looking into the next game.
Well, Nuke CT side is a trial by fire, let's be honest as well. So what a way to change things up. You're feeling good, you've had 2 close maps, everything's looking like it's going to be a climax, the end of what's been a great best of 3. They're looking forward to a great game of Counter-Strike, right? And then this happens. Then you get CT side. I mean, they could not have been dealt a worse hand to, because Nuke is not an easy map to play CT side, is it? We talked about at the start, no, there's a lot of depth to this.
Yeah, it's one where, like, obviously we still slightly favor it, but definitely not as much as we did in the past. Like, I think teams over the lifespan of this map have been able to adapt and basically grow into the T side, where I would put it still as like 9-6 CT sided. But the issue with that is there's still gambles that need to be taken, rotations that need to be called for, positions that might not necessarily be covered all of the time. And when you slot a player into that, it doesn't work. Like, it's not something that you can really play on the fly. It's very difficult to do. And we're going to have to wait and see whether or not they are just going to be straight 16-0'd, 8-0. We finally have a buy back in. Biggie looking like he might just be saving extra money here just to make sure he can drop weapons over to his players. It's understandable. We don't know how much he's been playing, but even if he has been playing like regular Counter-Strike, which not all of the coaches do, it probably hasn't been to necessarily a high level. Like, he's not going to be competing in competitions. He's not going to be playing against anyone anywhere near the level of Sprout. Decent start, though. D is going to be tagged down to 58 HP. Still an awful lot of work to do. The T's are being very patient. I think they're expecting some information gathering to eventually come up for the Heretics. Biggie peeking over the door. It's a tough spot to hold, especially because it's one of those positions where you're very likely to come up against a 1v1 duel, which, I'll be honest, that's probably the last thing you want to be happening. He's going to try and maneuver his way onto the hut, and even then he's going to get forced out of position, blinded. Just being bombarded with different grenades. As, again, that vent dive is going to come in. They're just going full matchmaking at this point. Looking to just try and get their move onto the B side. You can see Dennis waiting patiently to hold for anybody trying to rotate. Just watching to see if anybody is going to be coming in that direction. In the meantime, his teammates have already planted the bomb, but Dennis is actually going to get closed out. Another kill even coming up for the CT side. The only issue is the T's, again, have all of that control. They have all of the map under their favor, and Dia is just going to ruin that rotation back. It's only coming in from ramp at this point, and the CT side, once again, looking like they might just have to hold on to their weapons. Perfectly played from Sprout. Sure, it got a little bit dicey with the kills that came up, but ultimately they had the bomb down, ticked for about 10 seconds already, and perfect after plant position.
This is looking really quite bleak at this point. Even just the slight hint of success is shut down by Sprout with just one or two big plays. The double kill vent. What a way to deny any sense of a retake. Nine to 0, Tom. What a scoreline. T-side nuke. Sprout just obliterating their competition right now as they look to get this series done. And the way they've done it has been very just use and abuse of kind of Heretics' key positions. Vent diving, taking advantage of Biggie quite a lot, looking to force the frag on towards Nevera or Maka. They've targeted specific players and just rinse repeated, and it's worked perfectly. At least there's a start though. Keo does get first blood, finding Dennis early on here. Maybe presents an opportunity. Maka then gets a pick on D here as well. Perhaps, Tom, this might be a round.
Hey, you gotta hope. You gotta hope that there's something that's coming up for Heretics and soon. T's don't actually have control of the bomb. It's left in towards the spawn. They're gonna be pushing. Keo does a lot of damage, but it is still gonna be the trade back. Biggie down the vents. Maybe expecting this to be an outside push, and a missed shot from Oscar will mean that there's now a two-man advantage once again. Spiddy just holding for any sort of rotation. He's not going to be able to connect, and now Farven, well, 1v4. It's going to get finished off by Biggie. It is 1-9. Heretics, they're not going to be going down flawlessly at least, but there is an abundance of cash. Of course there is. It's 9-0, and it's been dominant from Sprout. So they're going to be buying comfortably into this next round. Looking, searching for double digits, but at least the CT side do have their buy in play. Now, I know at least for a fact that they spotted one of the orbs. Chances are they know there's a double orb set up again, so I do wonder if we will just see another attempt to try and aggressively take outside, just because it's so effective. If you can get down into the B site, a double orb setup is going to be completely useless. Like, it's so hard to retake, and they're just doing it again. They're running straight down already. It's going to be that opening pick coming up for Oscar. And they've already got all the way down onto the B side. The bomb has gone with them. Oscar with a second, just holding off players as he finds kills on the rotation. XMS, he's even going to go hunting for a little bit more. And one by one, watch the Heretics players fall. It's left on to Keo. Vera And Kia will at least be able to pick off one. A few tagged players, but ultimately it's looking like just another round of keeping hold of weapons.
That's the thing. I think you already called a save at 3v5 then. The minute you realise B has been taken, there's just nothing you can do. So losing an extra player, not ideal. Now they just have to pray that they can keep the AWP on the AK, because their money is not in the greatest of spots either. Thankfully, they've got a core of 3, which will be able to help them out without the save. This save just kind of guarantees that this next buy is going to be perfect for the CTs. After that, it becomes quite troublesome, but I think that's small talk when it comes to looking at the bigger picture here, which is that Sprout are on double digits already.
Yeah, double digits on the T side. This is done. Like, no matter if Lucky comes back, whatever, there's no way. Like, they would have to pull off an absolute miracle, and I think Sprout would have to, well, basically shit the bed for this to go wrong. I can't see any way that they let this one slip. Like, they would have to completely screw this up for even, like, no matter what happens. I think they could sub in like Zywa at this point, and it would still have to be such an impressive performance. Maybe that will work. Maybe if they can get Zywa as a sub, then they'll have an opportunity to bring this back. But yeah, it's a really bleak scoreline. Nice work from Biggie, at least. He will be able to get that opening pick, but the bombardment continues. Oscar with that AWP. It's really difficult to T-side AWP. But yeah, I think they're just having fun with it at this point.
Literally, he's just pushed in A as the entry fragger and got the kill with the AWP. I mean,
why not?
This is nuts.
At this point, why not?
Imagine being Heretics as well, right? You're put in a 4-on-4 retake. You go to play Heaven, and then they throw 4 Molotovs at you. Like, what can you do?
Well, that's the thing. They're playing so fast that they basically have all of their utility for after plant situations. So they're down to 15 seconds. They do have to save. Like, it's horrible. It's not fun Counter-Strike to watch. It's not particularly enjoyable, but that's just what we've got. Nice shot from Navira. This clutching at straws to say anything, but they're just blasting their way into the A site, getting the bomb down, playing after plant positions with a full set of utility. Like, I can't even really put this down to necessarily having a stand-in at this point. I think Heretics have almost just given up.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's really much on show from them, unfortunately. And well, I think it talks to kind of the morale part of it. I don't want to sort of beat down on that topic too much, because it happens sometimes. This is kind of the challenge of online Counter-Strike. I think as we get more and more into this world of online CS being the only CS that we have, given unfortunate global situations currently, teams are going to have to get prepared for this kind of issue. They're going to have either coaches who are ready to go and not well integrated, but are prepared, or actual substitute players. That will just get more internet lines.
I don't think the Heretics are going to care too much about this result. It's not a big deal for them. It was a chance maybe to have a little bit of fun playing with their coach. Like, they've still got 2 opportunities to get through. Sprout are one of the best teams in the tournament. They've given them a run for their money on the maps that mattered, where they had their squad. I think they should be able to beat pretty much anyone else who they come up against. So, yeah, sure, it's not nice. It's not a great situation, but I don't think this is going to be something that they particularly mind. I think, like, they'll probably just be winding up Lucky about it after the match, just like, your internet's rubbish. Come on, man. We could have won that, but
it does give us an interesting topic for other teams, though. That was more my point, looking at other teams in online CS just across the whole Counter-Strike spectrum right now, whether we are going to see things like internet disconnects or whatever it may be cause problems, because there are lots of uncontrollable factors now that we're out of what I would call the gamer house era, right? You go back 3-4 years, a lot of teams were living in houses together. Nowadays, that's less common. We're looking at, on the top end, obviously, you've got teams who are living in luxury apartments or what it may be, but sort of in this tier 2, tier 3 end, it usually is now just players playing from home. There's a lot of uncontrollable factors when you play from home.
Even at the top tier nowadays, I don't think there's that many teams that like actually live in a house. Most of the time, they would travel to a boot camp. So yeah, most teams at the moment, whether they're the top level or not, are playing from home. But at the same time, I think the whole, like, at least when it comes to, for example, Road to Rio, I think you're allowed 6 players, but one of them, that includes the coach. So that's why people were very much interested in the idea of what will happen with S-Tag in the future. But either way, it's back to this strategy once again. They've gone down the vent. They've dived in. It is going to be Dennis going down, and actually Oscar has fallen as well. Heretics have started to bring some rounds back. They've got a second onto the board in the last, but it's still going to have to be this 4v3 after plant situation. And that's the thing. There's been 2, 3, maybe even 4 of these rounds exactly the same. And every single time it's gone the way of Sprout. They've been so good in these after plants. And yeah, a lot of that comes down to it being fairly difficult for Heretic right now. But we'll see whether or not they can make this one work. Ultimately, it would still be a 3v3, even if you didn't include Biggie. Nice work from XMS. He's going to get 1, but the trades come back so fast. Dia is clinical. And the same can be said for Spiddy as they get their 12-2 scoreline and leave just 1 round left for the CT side to try and claim something.
Can you imagine a 13-2? I mean, it's been a while since I've seen 13-2 in a game like this, especially T-side nuke.
Yeah, it's not common, that's for sure, but neither of the circumstances. It's going to be early utility expended. I believe Kia maybe just attempted to jump into the vents himself. Biggie, his aggression, maybe a bit of a loose cannon as he does find Oscar, a man who's been entry fragging a lot with that AWP. But it's still just going to be a trade. But that 1-for-1 trade is fine. You've lost your coach and you've taken down Oscar. I'd pretty much take that every day of the week. And Dennis is going to fall as well. Still, though, the T's look to just try and bombard this A site. Faven already picking off Kiyashima is going to leave it mainly onto XMS on the site. Smoke going to be going out. Are they actually doing this again? They are. Just running down the vent.
Rinse, repeat the same play, isn't it?
I said at the beginning of the match, this is something I enjoy watching. I didn't expect to see it this many times. Good shot by Navera, though. A second as well. The AWP at least stepping up to the plate, and it's all on to Dia. 1 versus 3. Gonna try and have a cheeky dunk with the nade. Bomb is going to be planted, but they can get there very quickly. Indeed, he has to get off it. Left in an open position. 1 shot down. Knows that there's a second player close, but it's not going to be enough. A 12-3 half, your dream of a 13-2 did not happen, Ryan. But even still, utterly dominant from Sprout. A very good performance from them. It still takes a lot to just basically not get overconfident in these scenarios and actually shut out your opposition. We've seen every player performing. And of course, just 4 rounds away from making it to the playoffs.
And Big Man Biggie is currently second to Top Dragon. So there is that too. Taking that as a moral victory for him, I think. Of course, the scoreline, slightly more negative, but, well, you've got to take the wins you can find, right? Interesting time to call a pause. Will this be the return of the prodigal son, Lucky?
It would be nice.
It would be, what a time to come back. What a time.
It would be very nice, but yeah, I think it'd sort of be like that meme of like the guy walking into the house and everything's on fire. That is exactly that's what I imagine. That is happening right now, because yeah, it's not going great, is it?
Well, there's the unpause called. It looks like he will not be returning Biggie, the player, to continue the second half here. As the Heretic side cling on for dear life.
It's the Donald Glover meme where he walks in with like the box. It would be one hell of a time for it to come back, but no. It's going to be Biggie setting up the utility. The rest of the team looking to head their way down ramp. It's almost like Biggie's the big fake here, but he does have Maka alongside him to do the majority of the heavy lifting, and the T's have started this off well. A couple of kills coming up. There will be a trade back onto Maka. T is watching to see if they are going to rotate back around, but there is still a path onto this B site. I think footsteps will be heard, but it's a missed shot from Faven. Will he expect the second? Nice shots from Biggie. Bringing this one home, looking to really do the damage. He's found 3 kills in the pistol round. Moving himself right up the top of the board. Nade He's going to go in D at 1v3. I can't really see him winning this one, but a nice shot will at least get him his second kill. He's not going to do anything more, though. Heretics take the pistol round. It's Biggie with no small position in this. And now 12-3. 4 even.
Curious to see how long they can keep this going for. Will Sprout immediately purchasing into this. Scout, SMGs, three Deagles. Looks like we are going to see a rinse repeat of what Heretics had done to them for so many rounds. It's just straight into vent, straight down to B. Oscar did get a nice pick towards outside, but nothing to really be screaming about. Dennis finds another, but again, it's just Heretics trading away. Should be pretty comfortable at this point. Down on B, but where is the bomb?
Did Maka just get wrecked through the smoke? I think they just got the bomb off that as well. That is so unlucky. Like, Dennis throws a smoke down, and I'm pretty sure either he wrapped through into lobby and I just missed it, or he just spammed a shot through the smoke and wrecked him. Either way, that is as brutal as it gets, because that's one of those like where everybody vent dives and the one guy with the bomb doesn't make it down, and you're just sat there looking a little bit silly. Do they expect Dennis? It's the half check from Keo. It happens to the best of us, but it's something you just can't afford to do. Now they know there's at least one man behind them, and well, they know there's one man behind them. They've killed off Navera as well. This round is going very well indeed. 40-second marker on the clock. XMS with a bajillion angles to try and clear. On the CT side, oh, there's two of them just waiting around the corner. This is going to be a really tough spot for him. He's been in so many clutches. He's come close in so many clutches, but walks into the corner, and there's two CTs waiting. A 13th for Sprout. A great round from them off the back of the pistols, and potentially the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean, this is just so good for Sprout now, isn't it? They have all the weaponry, everything they need, just to run to 14. Meanwhile, Heretics, they've even forced us up as well. I think they have to at this point, but unfortunately for them, the byproduct of that will be that if Sprout win this round, 14, beat them on the full eco, 15, it's not that good of a situation, that's for sure. Yeah, running through the smoke as well is a quick and easy way to lose your life.
Oh, a few attempted shots. Dennis has been tagged. Of course, they've managed to retrieve the majority of the rifles from the last round, so they're in a very good position in this round. Oscar all the way down the ramp, so it has given some control at least, but utility's fairly minimal for the T side to make this cross. And Spiddy is going to be watching. Still holding within this A site. And a little bit wary of a player wrapping round the ramp. So Spiddy's got so many angles to actually check here. 45 seconds. That's the spot he needed. Worried about being flanked from behind, but instead just allowed to take that duel. And now things become quite difficult. Flashbang thrown out to try and leave somebody blind, but it's Dia from above. He does get tagged, but they're cleaning this up very nicely indeed. Bomb drop into the flames. And Navera left with 5 players to fight against. Doesn't look good for Heretics here, as a 14th is inevitable. And while not really much point saving the Deagle, he'll get more money into the next round anyway.
When will the pain end for Heretics? That seems to be the only thing left.
Soon.
They're left to wonder now, because yeah, they really can't do anything in this game, can they? It's just, this is the worst possible situation for them to be in. Do you just force us up? I feel like there might be a world where you just go screw it, but no, they play normal Counter-Strike, kind of in commas. They decide to sit the full eco and go for the full buy in what will be round 20, 15-4. That's a wild scoreline for them to be at, that's for sure. And honestly, I don't really see it being a comeback here from the Heretics side, but I respect them for giving it a go.
Oh, maybe they just want to give Biggie a chance to have himself a proper buy round on the T side. It would be nice to see. They're going to all peak versus Oscar. Now he's got a lot of information here and a chance to really build up some cash if he is going to be going for that AWP. As said, in previous rosters, it wasn't something he did too much, but of course he's very much capable. And while Navira just trying to dance out of the way of the majority of these bullets, but won't be able to. The scoreline close to being finished. As said, I really don't think that Heretics are going to be too fussed about this one. They know that they're not playing with their full roster. Nuke is probably one of the worst maps to have your coach stand in. But this is crunch time. They're going to get themselves the purchase. Mac is still going for that SG. I've seen most players move away from it, but still a few. It's going to be... He's looking to try and take control. I suppose if he's just tapping with it, then it's really not too bad. Just looking to try and find Oscar on the outside, but he's not there. He's actually kept the ump. Disappointed that we probably won't get an Oscar XM, which is still my favorite to watch. He's trying to take an outside duel with it. That is definitely ambitious. The T's are going to be slowly and methodically taking things out. I like that they're sending Biggie in first, though. Almost just use him to try and get yourself a trade kill, and then that'll set the T's up quite nicely. Spitty is outside, and they do have to be careful of his position. Now, he has been spotted. He's taken a bit of damage. But it's actually going to be Dennis to kick things off.
So Oscar's just chilling with Molly in hand. Not really flinching at all here as Fathom. Looks for the duel outside, won't actually find it. Doesn't expect Navera to be there as well, so it comes down to a 2-on-2. Heads up play is Navera has the bomb on its back, can get into ramp, and I imagine, yeah, Maka just joins in secret, head to the B site. Little did they know that that's where D-Hurt is ready and waiting, springs into action with the SMG, leaving just one man. Navera, he has to do it all now, 1 versus 2. If he wants even a remote chance of bringing this game back. I think it's fair to say that the hope isn't all quite there, but he'll give it a good go, that's for sure. Problem is, the minute that bomb goes down, door open. Yeah, we should be seeing a kill, but no, D-Hurt just plays it even safer, actually going, you know, I'll wait for my teammate, I'm going to do this together with Oscar. Just taking absolutely no risk. They're straight on the ball already. They just, yeah, this is going to be... No messing around here at all, Tom. They're just getting it done. 16-4. What a result. I mean, unfortunate circumstances for Heretics, that's for sure, but Sprout, I think they battled tooth and nail through map 1 and map 2. I think they deserved a victory here. They did fight hard in those first 2 maps. Unfortunately, the third, not quite the same, but it is what it is. Sprout, they will guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs. Heretics will have to fight just that little bit harder to make themselves get there as well. That's all for today, folks. That is our final best of 3. We're joining you at the same time, the same place, for more Counter-Strike tomorrow for LOOT.BET Season 6.
Going through the smoke, walks it, gonna go down, walks it with the AWE
position. Earthshaker's moving in as well. Echo Slam connects on it too. Macro Tire down as well.
always wins the brawl. Or can we cast the curse in? Oh, there we go.
LOOT.BET.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.